Today in this video I'm going to show you the features and how to use them in 3D DiscDJ. Now they don't really have a manual to go with this, they give you a rough demo right at the beginning, which it doesn't really show you half the features that this software is capable of doing. But one of the things I'm first going to show you is how to clear a waitlist. So click on here, and as you can see the waitlist is in front of me. Now it's already full of tunes that I was playing earlier. I can't play you any of this because the majority of it is all copyrighted. But if you want to clear the list, because you've got one for each deck, you press and hold, and then you'll see this orange light up here, and I don't know if you can see it very clear, but there's a tick and a 1 there. If you tick on that, it'll select them all. You can see they're all ticked now. Go to this little sub menu and it says remove from queue. You can play next, add to queue, and so on and so forth. We want to clear the queue. Cleared. Do the same on the other side. Select all, little sub menu there, remove from queue. Right, so that's now empty completely. And it takes about 3 taps to get out because you go off of each queue. So you're left with the tracks that are on the deck that we're playing at the time. I can't play them unfortunately, as I say, because of copyright. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to load some copyright free music into the list so that I can demonstrate to you. Now what I've gone into now is the album listing, so I've actually got this up as folders. I think in an earlier video I did go through this, but I'll go through it again. You have an albums tab, so if you deal with a lot of albums it will bring up everything in your albums. You can go by artist. Sorry, I touched that then. Go by artists, folders, composers, genres, playlists. You can make your own playlists up, which again I will show you how to do that. Songs, and the search bar. So if you want to search for a particular track you can. Now if you have just put in music into this, I suggest you hit songs, because then the database then looks through all the songs including the new ones you've added. For some reason it doesn't seem to do it automatically when you first start the app up. After they're already in you don't have a problem, but for some reason if you try to search a song or a record it won't find it. So if you, when you first start up, if you hit songs, it will take a minute. And there you go. Right, so now they're all in. Okay, so we'll go back to folders because that's what I tend to work from. So we're now in folders. Alright, now I'm going to find some copyright free music, like copyright free artists. Okay, so that's my list of artists. There are 35 songs. Okay, as you can see I'm going up and down the list without a problem. Alright, right, now you've got the option of playing all and it'll add to the queue. So as soon as you add them it will start playing the first deck that's loaded. Or you can just play all, or you can shuffle them. So it won't play them in the order it's on here, it will just shuffle through and play them at random. Okay, so I'm going to do that and it will start playing on the first deck. Now I've got it working so that all these songs will be split between the 2 decks. But if you wanted to, you could put this set of songs onto deck 1. So if I tap that and then play all, it'll start playing it. Okay, Now if I come out of there and go into just copyright free music, in other words this is just music, go to deck 2 and then play all on this 2. Right, okay, it will now mix to that one and we're up and running now. So now if we come out of there, at the moment it's playing on this deck. Okay, so I'll stop that. So I can pause it in the position it's in. So you've got pause and Q. If I hit Q, it will put a Q marker up there, and you have a series of 4 Qs that can be used for this track alone, and it will remember where they are. So even if you unload it and you turn off your, in this case, tablet, the next time you reload this track it will remember those Qs. So that's a really useful thing if you have a multi-mix mix that you've done and you want to find the cue points for each start of each cue. So that's one thing. So we've got the artist on this side. Now if I start playing this one, it will see the arrow going across there. It's asking me to mix across. Again, I can stop it, and again if I hit Q it will put a Q marker at the place I've stopped it at. You can rewind, obviously. Now I have actually been on to the developers of this app and asked them if there's any way they can put a speed adjustment. In other words, you can adjust how much it moves through the track, so that when a move of your finger will say move through much faster than it is at the moment, because the only way you can do it at the moment is to really move your finger around quickly, so which can be a bit of a pain really. So I've asked them if they can put a mod in where you can maybe adjust the speed that you can go forward or back, but it's quite responsive. Okay, above these 2 buttons there is a arrow facing right, arrow facing left. This allows you to go through the tracks in the waitlist. So if you're on track 1, which we are at the moment because we're playing in an order, if you go to the next one, it's now loaded track 2 in that waitlist and it will now play that. Right, okay. Right. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, so that works for both decks. So if you hit it again, it will load the next deck, next track rather. So if you know what tracks you want to play, then you know what order they're in. Okay. Now you have hot cue points. I did explain this once before, but I will go through it again. Now you can say play a track. I will pause it there. Now supposing you know where the end of the track is, Right, we'll say the end of the first track is there and the beginning of the next track. So you can set that up as a cue. So if you hit Q, hot Q1, it's now put a line in there with a little dot. Now it'll always start from that point. So if I play it now, right, now you see it's gone back. Now I accidentally touched it. Right, now if you know where your track is going to end or begin, you can actually move the progress bar with your finger. It's very responsive. So say you find you near enough know what position your track's gonna, the next track part of your track is going to start, you can play it right, and then stop it at the point that it's finished fading out, and then you can set point Q2. So it's as easy as that, and so on and so forth. So you can move, as I say, to the next one, but we'll move it to the next one there, and you can check it. Right, and then you can set your third cue, and so on and so forth. Alright, so now if I unload this track, you won't lose the cue points. The software will remember it, and even if you come out, as I said before, if you come out of the software or come out of this app, and even if you shut this tablet down, the next time you load this app, it will know, it will remember what the track was, and it will remember where the cue points were. So you haven't got to worry about it remembering it, because it will always remember it. So yeah, really useful feature. And if you wanted to go back to cue point 1, if somebody asks you later on in the evening to repeat cue point 1, well, to repeat that particular track on that one, you just hit cue point 1 and it goes back to the beginning of it. There you go. And it's really accurate as well. Okay. Okay, you've got speed adjustment. And if you hit tempo, it then automatically brings it back to the original speed. Okay. Right, these three buttons here, if you press that one and this deck is playing, it will mix to this deck. If this deck is playing and you press that one, it will mix back to this deck. So it's roughly like a sort of an auto DJ, but you still have to manually press the buttons for it to mix, or when you want it to mix. So I'll pick another track so we don't get bored. So okay, right, start playing this track.
Feels like I'm dreaming, letting go of these evenings. I just wanna know what's on your mind. There's not enough reason.
Right, now if I press that button, it will mix across to the next track. There you go, nice and smooth. And if I pick another track and I press the other button, it will go back.
They say life will bring discomfort, and I discovered we we all just suffer, cause no one feels that bad. And it comes from one another, we hurt each other just like...
So there you go. So you can also alter the pitch. You've got pitch control as well, so play that.
They say life will bring discomfort, and I discovered we all just suffer, cause no one feels that bad. And it comes from one another, we hurt each other just like a lover, and don't...
And it's easy to bring it back to the 0 point.
Yeah, and I feel like something's bad, but hell, I'm used to that. I always turn my back.
Okay, so well, you have these two buttons here. You have set and delete. Okay, now if we put cue points in here, so we'll say the 4 cue points, you want to get rid of them off the track. Alright, now if we go back, I've been going forward, so if we go back, right, now it's now brought back the track that had the cue points in it. So supposing you wanted to clear those and you didn't want them anymore, you've got to remember that you press the delete button and it lights up red, and then you hit whatever number you want to delete. So if you want to delete, say, cue point 2, you hit it, it's gone. If you want to hit delete cue point 3, hit it, it's gone. Then you're left with 1, and so forth. But you must make sure you switch it off afterwards, otherwise you will not be able to add any more cue points. Okay, so it's really important. I got caught out with that. So, you know, so. Right, in the middle, you have play and pause. So basically you use it like an ordinary player. If you play, press play, whichever deck it happens to be on, it will start playing it. And then you can mix between one or the other. Right, so this other deck is now ready. Okay, so everything I've showed you on the left hand side, it does exactly on this deck as well. They're a mirror of each other. The beauty I like about it is that they are beautifully laid out. It's very easy to use this. Okay, I did show you before, but I'll show you again. You've got the sample machine, which comes out like that. You've got an impact. And these are very good. You can adjust the volume of them to whatever you want. So you can play more than one sample without a problem. Okay. So you can edit it as well, which means that you can play mode, you can load a different sample, or depending on what play mode you want it in. So you can loop it if you wish to, play, stop or play. So it gives you lots of options. So we'll come out of there in a minute, come back out of there, you can drop that back down, and then obviously you've got your FX, so whatever deck you're playing. This right hand deck, it will work on this deck. allows you to do all different effects on there that you can try. But as I say, using this bit of software, you will get used to it, but you constantly have to be using it. Alright. Okay, back to the middle again. Obviously you've got your slider. Now you can also activate it using the arrows. You can fade it from one to the other using these little arrows, I don't know if you can see. There you go. And it will also mix across doing that way as well. Except it doesn't stop the deck. You have to manually stop the deck when you do that. But when you hit the buttons, it will automatically stop the deck after it's finished playing it. Okay? Right, we'll stop that in a minute. Okay, supposing you had a track playing on here, what we'll do is we'll move it along to the next track, alright? Start playing this one. Right, it's asking me to go across. And you wanted to load a track onto this deck while this one's playing, alright? Right, you hit this one here, which you go to your waitlist. Right, this is really important. Do you watch what I'm doing, alright? Because this is quite sensitive, alright? Right, now, a little submenu comes up, alright? Now it's important you make sure you select deck 1, because if you leave it on deck 2 and you hit load deck, it will cut the record out that you're already playing, alright? And you'll have an embarrassing moment, okay? So it's very important. Pick deck 1, load on deck. That track is now loaded on deck 1, alright? Okay. You can also make playlists, which I will tell you about. So, for instance, again, touch here. You can either add it to a queue, but you've already got a queue there ready, so you might want to add it to a playlist, and then it will ask you what list would you like to add it to, or do you want to make a new list, for instance. So if you go down to the bottom, it'll say new playlist. You select new playlist. You can then type in what you want the list to be called. We'll do test 1, just for example's sake. Okay, you then come out of there. Alright, that has now gone into test 1, being the first one. Okay, right, so we then pick another track, can then move down, add to playlist. Alright, pick up test 1, it's now loaded it onto that track. So you can bring that up later on and you can actually use that as a waitlist. Alright, okay, so we'll just come out of there for the moment. Alright, you can also shuffle these around as well. So if you pick this, you can move this track to a different position in the list. So grab hold of it, and there you go. You'll move it around in the list. So quite useful. If you have records already loaded and somebody says to you, oh, have you got a particular track, I'd like to hear it now because I've got to go within the next 10 minutes. You can say, yeah, no problem. And you can select them all. Say this one here, right? And then you can move it to wherever you want to move it. Yeah. Move it to the number 1 position. No problem. Alright. Now I've got it switched onto Auto DJ, that's why it did it on its own. Now, you can have it Auto DJ on the one deck only, but it won't mix them. It will just play them one after the other on that particular wait list. So unless you've got this one here fixed, lit up, it will not mix from one deck to the other. One of them has to be lit up, okay? So it's important, otherwise it won't mix, okay? So you can put it down, I'll stop that. So I'm now going to show you that it's really important that you make sure that you put your database in properly so that you can find, so that the software can find stuff very easily. Okay, now you can see I've got all folders here, right, but I'll just shift through them. Right, for instance, I've got 100 greatest rock songs, 100 reggae hits, 60 hits, 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s, and the 90s. You know, so they're easy to find stuff. So, like for instance, 60s hits, and it gives you the full list, no problem at all. So it's a really good bit of software. I'm sorry that the light is reflecting in it. My living room light is reflecting in it. Yeah, so it's a very good bit of software. But as I say, it's important. Now, this database is all coming from my SD card. So it will read off an SD card, an external one, which is plugged in, okay? Now what I'll do is I'll show you how I've done it on my SD card, alright? So we'll just come out of here for a minute, alright, and we'll just bring that up, bring that down, okay? Actually, I just realised it was recording there, never mind. Okay, right, so if we go to File Commander, alright, okay, forget that. Right, now SD card, and that's the way I've got it laid out, you see. So 50s. See, I've named the folder so that I can go straight to it without any problem. George Michael's greatest hits, party hits, Michael Bublé, Michael Jackson, Ministry of Sound, Crooners, Motown Complete Series. Now that's what I call music. So you just make sure that you put them in the correct way, alright? And that's what they look like, okay? They're MP3s. Alright. Now this plays MPEG-4A as well as MPEG-3, and I think it plays some other formats as well, but you might want to check up on that. Alright. For instance, those copyright free tracks I was playing you are MPEG-4A. Okay, so it plays them absolutely perfectly. Alright, but you can see all the tracks there. Okay, so I shall come out of there, go back. Right, okay. Well, I'm trying to think what else more I can tell you about it, really. Obviously, I just think I did show you the graphic equalizer that you have there. So you can, I've set this graphic equalizer up, okay. Now, it shows flat up the top there, but I've manually adjusted the sort of mid-bass area, alright. But it has presets as well, so you can set it up to whatever you want. I did show you this before, I believe. Alright, same with that one. So that's deck on this side and this deck, alright. They're both independent of each other, alright. Just tap it again, it will go away, alright. Gives you the beats per minute under the window on this side. Does both identical. I think I'm repeating myself. gain controls. Now, I'm not sure if this has got an auto gain or not. Now, when I loaded a track, I found it quite loud, and so I dropped the gain. The next time I loaded a track again, it readjusted itself. So I think it has got a semi-gain control, but I'm not quite sure how accurate it is, because some tracks seem louder than others when you're just using this on its own. I'm using an auto gain control, which I shall show you. No, wrong one. This has got Dolby Atmos on it, and it's got volume leveler on it anyway. So I'm using that to level the tracks at the moment. So I'm not sure if the software actually has its own leveling control. So something I've been meaning to look into. So, but again, as I say, the people that make this bit of software don't give you too much information, unfortunately. So I'm hoping they're going to come up with some more info on this. Alright, so, but the sound quality is excellent. I mean, you're not going to get the full sound quality that I'm hearing in the room. As I showed you before, you do have bass controls. Got mid-range. And it's very, very strong frequency response. And of course you've got master volume control. And then you have the gain controls that I was on about. That blows to both decks, obviously. Now you notice, as I said before, whenever you do that, it automatically stops this deck. if you do it with the arrows, it does not stop the opposite deck, okay? So remember that. Now the only other thing, that's would be quite useful, and this might be one for the developer. Now it gives you the beats per minute on each deck, but unfortunately you don't get the beats per minute until it's actually loaded on the deck. So as far as the beats per minute are concerned, you're blind as far as setting the deck, matching the decks up for beats per minute. So if you wanted to say, if you knew there was a number of tracks that had, say, I don't know, 130 beats per minute, and you wanted to match them up so you could get a nice clean mix, you can't, because you don't know what the tracks are. So unless you've got a really good memory and you remember what the tracks were, so like if you go into the waitlist like that, it doesn't give you the beats per minute. Now that would be a really useful function. So that way you could then match up the beats per minute and progressively go through your list, bringing the beats per minute up to tempo, up to speed, and be able to match them up nicely. I use another bit of software called Virtual DJ on a PC, and that does give you the beats per minute. So it means you can set a program up and match up the beats per minute. If the tempo is correct and your music sort of genre is about the same, then it's quite easy to match them up. But with this, you're totally blind. You've got no idea. Not even here, it doesn't, if I do that, it gives you no idea of what the beats per minute are. So, I mean, view details. Play count, the dates, duration, composer. Now you see, like, there. Now it gives you all the information, but it doesn't actually tell you how many beats per minute. So yeah, so a bit lost on that one. So that would be a really useful function if they could do that. So yeah, that's something that the developer could think about doing. Making it so that it can look through your database and work out what the beats per minute are. Okay, it would take time, obviously, because you'd have to go through your whole database, but it's something to keep in mind. It would be useful, because at the moment, unless you actually know what the beats per minute are, it's very difficult to match them up. For instance, that's 150 beats, that's 120. So unless you know what the next one's going to be, so if I load that up, right, now at the moment it's silently listening to it, and in a moment it will bring it up. So we'll play this one while we're waiting. There you go, 128 beats per minute, alright? Doesn't take long, admittedly, but right now, if we want to match that to that, or match that to that, we'd have to bring it up gently. Right, okay, so, brought that up. Okay, well, that's about what I can tell you about this bit of software, really. Except it's great, it's very reliable, hasn't given me any problems. Download it, and if you enjoyed this video and it helped you, please give me a like and join my channel. So till next time, take it easy. see you soon. Bye.